we really think of ourselves as peasants, this small-scale farming, which we have to do ourselves mostly. We don't have anyone working here or anything else like that. Tuppence?
Our children thought we had totally lost our trolleys this time, and we were going to be very lonely, and life was going to be very difficult, and they were very concerned until the first time they came to stay here after we'd been here a while. They don't worry anymore.
I spent my life being a clergyman and working as a parish priest, but I started off working on a farm. And when I was a boy in the West Midlands, they used to laugh at me because I wanted to be a farmer. This is Ellie. The dog, you know, all by their rear view.
I worked in a college of further education, and at the end of my educational career, before I hurt my back, I was head of a very large department for people with disabilities. Erica has been an absolute star. I mean, all through the winter, she gave somewhere between 6 and 7 kilos a day. Bearing in mind she came to us as an unmilkable goat. And she was. She knocked me out the first time I milked her. She's been a very, very high yielder, but she's been milking for 14 months now, so she's slowing down. And we wanted to slow down as well, because she's produced a huge amount of milk before we put her back in feed again. We only kid them every other year, and we do what's called running through in between, so they can carry on milking through till about 2 months before they kid again. So it means they're not under too much pressure. They're not producing kids and huge amounts of milk all the time, because we love them to bits, so they don't get pushed too much.
But I explained to them, you see, that everybody has to earn their living. And I earn my living doing this, and they earn their living producing milk, so it's all, you know.
Oh yes, you've been ever so good for you. I'm sure I'm going to get a kick in a minute. She's so very nervous and very anxious, and she was producing a lot of milk, so we didn't want to upset her by making a change when the milking machine came into action in April. She used to milk 28 by hand, yes. I actually quite miss it sometimes. It's really nice we have such a close contact with the animal. It's you and the animal quietly together.
They're all, to us, they're all distinct personalities. Verona, have you eaten all your food up? The act of milking opens up the milk channel, and when they go back, if they lie down, then bugs go up the channel, you see, and cause mastitis and so on. So we use a cheap kit which helps prevent that. We don't like it because it's cold. I don't blame you. Oh, Verona. Oh, yes. Oh, it's cold, isn't it? I don't like doing it to them, you know, but it would be much worse if they got mastitis, you know. They like routine. They've been milked by our relief milker for Monday night and all day Tuesday because we were at the show, the Anglesey show.
One of the youngsters was very, very stressed. So at 1 o'clock on the Tuesday morning, I was feeding her some my tobacco to get her a bit more relaxed. It works. They like Becky, particularly when they're kidding or stressed. Yeah. So off we went with the goats, basically just cleaned up slightly, with all these beautiful goats from other people, all immaculately washed, all in their coats, looking wonderful. And I thought, what are we doing here? Got very stressed, totally in a panic. And along came the showing day, having had no sleep Monday night. And out for other inspections at 7:30 in the morning, and I thought, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. First milking performance with stewards and everybody watching, and I thought, oh, I hate this, this is horrible, I'm going home. I'm not doing this. And then it came to showing, and in our first class, one of the goats won, Pecan, and I thought, oh. And I think we got a third and a fourth in that class as well. And then along came other classes, and we were winning here, there and everywhere and getting seconds and so on. And then in the afternoon up came the final show championship one, and I thought, oh well, you know, this is quite hysterical. And they pulled out, after a lot of time, the show champion. I thought, lovely. She was a beautiful white goat, immaculately clean, looked beautiful. And Pecan got reserve champion, and I just burst into tears.
We started off because a neighbour who had a child, a baby who was allergic to cow's milk, asked us if we could keep a couple of goats. We'd got land, they'd got a small garden. So we said, well, we kept cattle and sheep and other things, so we'll keep a couple of goats for you. But then came the problem, you see. If you were going to provide milk for a child, you need to provide them consistently through the year. And we had one goat and one goatling, which is a sort of over a 12-month-old goat. Now, so we had to get more goats in order to make sure this child had sufficient milk all throughout the year. And again, you see the problem, what do you do with the surplus? And so we made cheese.
I just decided I was going to do it when the first goats arrived, and just kept at it. I mean, you know, had some amazing disasters for quite a long time. The other one that worked was a bonus to start with. When a lot of the cheeses were developed in this country, hundreds and hundreds of years ago, people didn't have cows, they had goats, because people couldn't afford a cow. So it had to be possible to do it with goat's milk, so I had to actually work through all the cow's milk recipes and get them to work with goat's milk, which meant we had an awful lot of cheeses that didn't quite work, and we had some very fat sparrows. But I don't think there's many people make blue Stilton with goat's milk. All the cheeses are called to parts of this country here, in this lean. So the only one that's called Pemperis is the Wensleydale, that's called Coombe Pemperis. But they're all named after little areas around here.
That black and white one with the floppy ears is Maisie. She's a cross between a British Alpine, that's the black and white one like Melia over the back there, and an Anglo-Nubian. Anglo-Nubians produce very rich milk. British Alpines produce very sweet milk, and we're trying to get the combination of the two, and that's what we're trying to do. Because with cheese making, we need solids in the milk, the proteins and the butterfat. So that's why the thing. Hello, Mallow. Come on, Mallow. It's all right. It's okay. She's got a big lump on her side there, so we can't. We had the vet to her a couple of times, but it's a blood vessel apparently that's burst inside, so she doesn't look so good. Oh. Come on, come on, come on, come on, Mallow. Yes, you're a lovely girl, aren't you? Yes, come on, Mallow. Come on, Mallow. She's a brave little girl, anyway. Yeah. Now she's smelling you. What are you doing with her? Yeah. Wow, what is it you can smell? There we are. or tasting you, really. That's what it is. It's tasting. There we are. This one is our gym slip mother. She got over a 5-foot fence, and the Billy kid got over a 5-foot fence one night, and they had a tryst. And the result is, instead of being a goatling in the pen, she's a milker. Because you had some kids, didn't you? Yes. So we call her Soho Lucy, because whenever we can't find her, she's always in the billy pen. She's always around the billies, aren't you? Hey? Hello, Marius. Good morning, Marius. Marius is a British Alpine male with a lot of milk behind him, and he's yeah. If you want to go to the supermarket and get straight into the cash out, handle one of these first, and when you go to, everyone will move out of your way.
When we got Marius, I was so pleased to have such a beautiful male, yes. So I spent hours with him, took him for walks, all sorts. But it's resulted in Marius being in love with me, so I dared go in his pen, because he only has one thing in mind when he sees me, don't you? You love him, Mum, don't you? Yes. And it's not the goat's fault, it's mine. I fussed him far too much, and now he just thinks he's in love with me, don't you? Yes. Yes. It's my fault, isn't it, not yours? Yeah.
It's just comfortable because we live and work and do everything in the same place. We got dogs, we got cats, we got chickens, we got goats, we got cattle, and they all need looking after, but somehow they give so much back at the same time. There are lots of lovely people. There are lots of lovely animals, and there's lots of lovely countryside, and we live in a lovely house, and what more could you want? Yeah. We ain't got much money.
Money?
It's sort of coming to an end, in one sense, because we started this cheese and goat business just at the point of it really taking off, and all the preliminary work and the testing the customers' reactions and so on has all been done.
Oh, and breeding up the type of goats we like.
Breeding the kind of goats we like, which we think is right for this kind of situation. We talked many times about handing over the business, now we've done all the preliminary work, to somebody who was of the locality. So all our preliminary work and so on is now going to a young man and his mother, in fact, and the family, and they can take off with it. And it's hugely exciting.
It's a beautiful part of the world with some lovely people, and it's like going back years. It's just wonderful. Freedom to be yourself, no pressure to be somebody else other than who you are, and people accepting you as that. And I think that's been the best thing for me. Not expected to be the vicar's wife.
Oh, that's a pain, that is.
And I was never very good at that.
You were very